Author James Bamford's The Puzzle Palace was the first book written about the NSA. He's also contributed to Wired. James Bamford is here along with senior correspondent John Miller, a former deputy director of national intelligence. Welcome. So put this in context for us. Orwell's 1984 and where we are today. Could you have ever imagined it would be as extensive as it is?
No, I couldn't. Before the age of digitalization and internet and all that, I wrote my first book, The Puzzle Palace, on a typewriter, for example.
What is a typewriter these days?
Yeah.
Kids looking at you today would have no idea what that is.
Yeah, somebody told me once I should say that it's just a keyboard attached directly to a printer, and they would understand the concept of what a typewriter is.
Right.
Yeah, back in those days, no. When I finished The Puzzle Palace, the highest thing that they had was fax machines.
But said it in a different way, have we seen all the fears that came out of 1984 realized to a degree?
To some degree. The whole idea was the move towards totalitarianism, a totalitarian state. And that was helped along by having all this surveillance, so nobody could really go against the government. And that's what a lot of the worry is today. We're moving to more and more surveillance, which will push us more towards totalitarianism.
But John Miller's seen it from the inside and suggest what about the nature of surveillance today?
I mean, I think the mantra of 1984 was Big Brother is watching you.
Right.
I think what people want is Big Brother. I think what they want is Big Brother to be watching out for you.
Yeah, protecting you.
Yeah.
There's a big distinction there. So you got to say in the post-9/11 era, when Americans had to redefine, reclassify their idea of, am I safe at home? 3,000 people were killed on a single day at multiple locations by a non-state actor, not even another country. Kind of redefined our idea of war. So everybody said, you know, I need somebody watching out for me. As Jim says, it's the capabilities and how they're applied that's the scary part. Now, my experience inside the NSA as somebody who was there a couple of times a month, you know, and spent days at a time working through different projects with them was hardworking people, some of the finest Americans I ever met, very attentive to the idea of not avoiding spying on U.S. persons. That means just not just citizens, but also anybody who was here on U.S. soil legally. This was a big theme of everything they did every day. Still, you have to wonder when you see a country under pressure, as we did after 9/11. That's the time you have to worry the most that those rules will be pushed or bent, and that's where oversight is key. And it's an opaque agency. You know, it's hard to see inside the NSA.
It does raise a lot of questions, Jim Bamford, you know, with the latest stories in the news. I like what you just said, John. You want them to be watching out for you, not watching us. Based on everything that you know, is the NSA really listening to everything we say? That's a big concern now for a lot of people.
No, they can't listen to everything, but what they do is they put filters on the areas where the information comes in. So in order to pick out what they want, they basically have to have machines that do listen to virtually everything, and then pick out the phone calls or the email, whatever that
You're
have.
talking about like keyword searches and things like that.
Keywords, key names,
That triggers, yeah.
key email addresses, key telephone numbers, and so
Let me
forth.
ask you this, James. What do you think we should be worried about based on what we have learned from what Snowden has told us?
Well, I think the biggest worry is all this is going on in secret. There's no democracy involved here. It's just, let's do this, let's eavesdrop on this, let's get all these records. I was in England the last 10 days, and they, before all this broke here, they were having a debate over the same thing. Should the government get access to all the metadata coming in on everybody's communications? Should they store it, force these ISPs to store it? And the way they did it there was they had a bill go through Parliament. It was publicly debated. It was debated in the press and so forth. And they voted it down. So it was a democratic way of doing it. People could say, well, there is a threat there, but then again, do I want this surveillance? And they said no. That's the way a democratic society does it.
Thank you, Jim. Good to see you, John.
My pleasure.
We thank you both.